Your leadership is
good.
going to revitalize and make shipbuilding and maritime great again.
At the Trump EPA, we're going to make it proud.
Honor and respect we have for each other is a reflection of you and your leadership.
Thanks to your leadership.
You were overwhelmingly elected.
No, you weren't.
The biggest majority.
No,
Mr. President,
bitch.
thank you for your leadership at the border.
Thanks to your fantastic leadership.
So the American worker is grateful. Main Street is grateful for you.
You pigs. What a bunch of disgusting wastes of human DNA. Do they? I don't know how they could sit there without a spine. How? I don't know. It's the mass delusion that is so baffling to me. These are all grown-ass adults. And, Marco Rubio, he was supposed to be the normal one. But they're all equally awful. And lying right to this con man's face. And let me remind everyone that this is not normal. Not just the going around the room and a cabinet meeting is all of the cabinet appointees licking the president's ass. That's not normal. Cabinet meetings are not usually recorded for the press or televised. Sometimes they'll have, this is our first cabinet meeting, and they'll take questions from the press, and then the press leaves, and the officers of the agencies and the president, they get down to the business of governing and taking care of the American people. So this is not normal. This is a pantomime of governing while they smash and grab. This is North Korea. Right out of North Korea. How dare they? And another thing we're going to talk about tonight is, of course, right on cue. I guess it never stopped, but the corporate media has got to check in with the Trumpanzees. When do they ever check in with Democrats, except when they're kicking down on Democrats? When they check in, have they even when they were going after Biden, he's too old and all that. Every other hour, not every hour on the hour. It was the Biden is too old, and then there was a poll about how old he was and how everyone thinks that Republicans are better for the economy when they're not, and rinse, repeat. And I mean, how many corporate media mouthpieces pointed out the fact when they played the cabinet meeting, did any of them point out the fact that that's not normal? And when they check in with the Trumpanzees, does any of them dare present them with the moral question of, now you're feeling it? Now you think maybe you regret your vote? Not all of them. There's another article in the Washington Post about how the cultists are going along for the ride because they trust the con man. This is such a failure of every pillar of democracy, of every institution that was supposed to protect the grand experiment in liberal democracy. All of it. When you put it all together, this country is supposed to it's supposed to be the antidote to everything that the Republicans are putting together. A nation where the rich run and rule and everyone else compliantly and quietly awaits their rewards in heaven, begging for a trickle here and there. Hey, can you trickle on me? Maybe you'll go find a lord to serve and they'll trickle some benefits on you. If you're lucky, maybe they'll get some trickle in your mouth. I don't know. But, everything that, all of the failures that got us here, the attacks on the pillars of democracy, campaign finance, the corporate media, attacks on education. Every time a conservative came to knock us out from the knees, the American people, of course, the American people should have known better, but They can't. How could they know better if nobody's telling them? They're getting their news from right-wing propaganda outlets that have to pay fines for lying to them, and other influencers literally funded by the Kremlin. Why isn't that on there? And then you get the Democrats. Like when I saw Gretchen Whitmer, she gave a speech, and then she went to she went to the Oval Office. She was standing there with Trump. Like, what the fuck is going on in here? I don't know if you guys remember, like, for a hot minute, they were presenting her as a possible presidential candidate or VP candidate. Remember that? Gretchen Whitmer. That's what we have to deal with here in America. That is what passes as journalism here. Are you going to run for president? You think she can run for president? Who's going to be president? You going to run for president? That's the extent of journalism. Jesus Christ on a bike. How are we going to recover from this?